Hey, shalom, 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 lakam, which is peace unto you all. Knocking out Waha'i Barisha Allah, we the Hebrew Israelites, coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, to preach to you so called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Nacham, Atam, Kaya, Hamalak, Wathashamayim, Kwara, repent ye for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. First and foremost, before we get started, I'm going to say, Call Halayim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Chahakwadash. Hey, double honor sales and apostles of great mills on the torch of truth and rule well. All right. So pretty much we're in a time of where Esau has, celebrates these holidays, but what we can see, through the spirit is that essentially the spirit of mirth and that old spirit that they had once in America, Babylon the Great is no longer, because essentially the Lord has taken away the spirit of mirth in America, Babylon the Great. Actually, we could start with that, Baba Kushah. Shalom Malak Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah Bahasham Chakodash Barakatah.
Hey, shalom. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Could we get Isaiah 24?
Isaiah 24. What verse is it?
I got
there it is.
I believe it's verse 9.
Come. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 24. And I'm gonna start at you know what? I think it's a few verses up. Matter of fact, I'll start here. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 24. And I'm gonna start at verse 10. It reads, "The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man."
What represents that city of confusion? America, Babylon the Great is just one giant city. All right, and essentially it's being broken up.
That's right.
This place is essentially the strongholds, the way of life, the everything about America, Babylon the Great is being pretty much destroyed. Through the spirit and power of the Lord, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai.
That's right. Isaiah 24, verse 11, it reads, there is crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone.
Right, and what does that wine represent? Essentially, when we talk about geopolitics and things that are going on throughout the world, all right, everybody's crying for answers. They don't have any answers. They're not getting answers from these different churches. Whatever type of ideology or philosophy that they follow after, they're not getting any answers. That's what that wine represents. It says all joy is darkened. When you look at the overall spirit of so-called Americans, it's a very dull type of spirit, not like it once was, And it says the mirth of the land is gone. Baba Kushak, can we get that word for mirth?
Con, I got the common dictionary if you want mirth.
The lexicon, Baba Kushak.
Con, let me see.
Yeshai, you got it.
You got it, Yeshai?
Con. For the word mirth. Salakia.
It should be Mashosh. And it says, you scroll down a little bit, it says exaltation, joy, rejoicing. It says concretely the cause or object of abstractly the feeling. It says joy, mirth, and rejoicing. Pretty much, if you look at again, going back to the dull spirit of America, Babylon the Great, that's why they got to come out with different types of entertainment. Esau understands that by having entertainment, that's going to push forth a spirit of joy. You see, Esau got to come out with his left hand tactics. He got to come out with different sports, like he got the slap boxing. He has where people are fighting on ice. He got to invent things like that. You see, because the American dream is no longer. Baba Kushak, could we get Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 1 or verse 3?
Can I grab your common definition for the word mirth, Baba Kushak?
Yeah, you got it, bro.
This is the common definition for the word mirth. It says amusement. You see that? It says especially as expressed in laughter. And we brought this out yesterday. Ain't nobody laughing out here in these streets, man. Scripture tell you that when the wicked bear of rule, the people are mourning, man. Right? This is why everything is pretty much on a downward slope. No one is having fun. Everybody's broke. Jake can't even really afford to cook these damn meals today, man. Everybody's all coming all on TikTok, complaining, from these heathens all the way down to Jake, man. So that mirth is gone, going back to the point that you brought out.
Right.
Precept, Yeshaya? Or you want me to grab it?
What was it again?
Who's getting Isaiah chapter 19?
Isaiah 19.
Mm-hmm.
Which verse?
You start at the top.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19. And I'm going to start at top, verse 1. It reads, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt.
Mm-hmm. Which, could we get a quick precept? Let's go to Exodus chapter 20 and verse 2.
You may grab it?
Mm-hmm. Well, you shot, you can put it up on the screen.
Okay.
This is Exodus 20 and verse 2. It says, I am Yahweh thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Right. So the house of bondage, like in ancient Egypt, we was in servitude and captivity to the Egyptians, the Hamites, you see. But that pretty much represents a bondage. So we're in present day Egypt, or Egypt 2.0, America, Babylon the Great, so where the scriptures say, pursuant to Jeremiah 50 and the 33rd verse, where we will all be in captivity, and that place is in Egypt 2.0, America,
That's right.
So could we go back to Isaiah chapter 19?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 1. It reads, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence.
Right, and when you look at ancient Egypt, all right, the Lord essentially touched the different idols that the Egyptians was essentially confiding in. Same thing today, these different idols that these so-called Americans, essentially confide in, where they find their security, so to speak. So the Lord is touching the spirit of mirth, and that's an idol in this place as well. The mirth, the holidays. All right, you keep on.
Hey, Baba Kasha, Yawam, you mind adding the brother Itazawan in? He says he's backstage.
He's backstage. Yep.
Shalom, shalom, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushua Bahasham, Chagwadash Brakatah.
Shalom, Akim. Shalom.
I'll go ahead and read it again. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 1. And it reads, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence. And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Verse 2.
The mic.
Echo.
Can you run it back?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 1. And it reads, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence. And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it.
Pretty much how the Lord essentially killing that American dream. That was essentially encapsulated in these holidays, that mirthful spirit, and just the different religions and stuff like that these so-called Americans, would confide in,
That's right.
Give me a read.
You go ahead, bro.
You got it.
God. This is Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 11. It says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave. Now, when you go into this word for pomp, right, it goes into pride, right? As brothers are saying, the breakdown of this society is being made manifest before our eyes, right? It says, in the noise of thy vials, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee, right? Going into the corrosion of this country, right? And one of those things that coincides with the corrosion, right, is these idols being removed, right? The people not having their place of security and dependency that they once had with these various idols is contributing to the corrosion of this society.
Could we can hop back to let's hop back to Isaiah 19 and we get verse 2 and 3.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 2. And it reads, and I will set Egyptian against Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against
it said could bros mute there, Mike? But it said Egyptian against Egyptian, which pretty much goes into infighting. You know, that's what we see in America, Babylon the Great. You know, we went into camp yesterday. It said that pretty much like the spirit of it was an article going into how people was drinking more like in the times of the Civil War, and that's what we seeing now. You know, and it's the spirit that essentially that happened back then, but it's happening again now. You know, in these times.
Con, I got that article.
Kanye, yeah. Could you read it off?
Con. This is from the Hill, posted June 12th, 2023. It says Americans are drinking as much alcohol now as in Civil War days. The average American drinks 60% more hard liquor now than the mid 1990s, an unheralded surge in spirit consumption that signals changing taste in alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Americans are drinking.
Because if I can add, like you was mentioning, I talked to him yesterday at camp, like the spirit of mirth is gone. You know, like when they're kind of like, could you mention that point when they was like diluting the alcohol and stuff like that?
Right. The alcohol is being diluted with different additives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's, because when you measure, inflation and the consumer price index and people's accessibility to goods, alcohol has been pretty steady as far as their cost. Um, so as we know, the quality is being deflated, right? And that contributes to the mirth. Like if you don't
Mm-hmm.
have the good alcohol, then really people aren't going to be able to avoid their problems with these vices, along with other drugs of choice that people deal with. You know,
Right. Because majority of the people in America, Babylon the Great, is like self-medicated, or they want some type of prescription drug anyway. You know.
right?
So yeah, we can continue on in Isaiah chapter 19.
Come. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 3. I'll read verse 2 again. And it reads, and I will set Egyptian against Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. You go
Verse 3, Isaiah 19 and 3. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst, like in the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsels thereof, and they shall seek to their idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards.
Right, so it says, "And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counts thereof." Hey, the things that once was working for America, Babylon the Great, is no longer working. You know, like when you take it in the arena of like recruiting and retention for the military, you know, the same propaganda and the different advertising that they once used to do, you know, it's not working for them no more. That's why they got to enact a draft. You see, but when you put it in the perspective of these different things in America, Babylon the Great, you know, the things that they once was working for them, it's not working for them anymore, you know. And it says, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. So Esau is getting in his bag, you know. He essentially the scriptures say that he has a right hand of falsehood, so that's what he relies on, you know, and that's essentially what he's tapping into, you see. But those demons that Esau's communing with, they're not answering him like they once was, you know. But yeah, we could hop back to the article.
This is from the SmithsonianMagazine.com. It says the myths of the Thanksgiving story and the lasting damage they imbue. It says, in truth, massacres, disease, and American Indian tribal politics are what shaped the Pilgrim Indian Alliance at the root of the holiday. But when you go into this article, it's going to, clarify a little bit of points. But I'll just read a little bit on the top, and I'm gonna skip down. But it says in Thanksgiving pageants held at schools across the United States, children don headdresses colored with craft store feathers and share tables with classmates wearing black construction paper hats. It's a tradition that pulls on a history passed down through the generations of what happened in Plymouth. Local Native Americans welcomed the courageous pioneering pilgrims to a celebratory feast. But as David Silverman writes in his new book, this land is their land. the Wampanoag Indians, Plymouth Colony, and the troubled history of Thanksgiving. Much of that story is a myth riddled with historical inaccuracies. Beyond that, Silverman argues that the telling and retelling of these falsehoods is deeply harmful to the Wampanoag Indians, whose lives and society were forever damaged after the English arrived at Plymouth. So,
Con.
just wanted to make a point here. You know, it's coming to now that we're, coming to the time of Esau being revealed, being the devil. Now we're starting to see even his own people, coming out with books, coming out with the truth of history. You know,
Yep.
like it says in the scriptures, a shameful spewing, if I may get that.
I got that right here for you, Ak.
Khan.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory.
Right. So now we're starting to see the truth of this man's rise in this world. How he was able to attain this land through rape, robbery, murder. Even though they tell you this in school through secular history, they tell you, but they don't really go into depth. Like the origin of Native of America is filled with blood. Like you can go into history, and there's countless of wars, countless of battles that were done here in the soil of America with Native American blood or Gadite blood shed on this land, right?
I,
And it goes extensive. Like the history they teach you in school is nothing to what reality is. But you got it, bro.
can I get a precept for you?
Khan.
This is Nahum chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not.
Right, it's all full of lies and robbery, man. That's how Esau founded America, through lies, robbery, deception, killing, murder, man. Any means possible. The scriptures say that the violent take it by force. He took America by force.
Mhm.
But hey, this is all going back to the point of that this land that Esau so-called portrayed to gain it through what they call manifest destiny. He really got it. He really stole it. He stole everything he got. He stole it, man. Right. And this whole story of the whole Native American Thanksgiving shit, it was all a lie to kind of put a cloak over their treacherous history.
I got a quick article to back up everything that you're saying, Yeshaya, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
This is from the CC network. It says, "Here's the true and bloody story behind the origins of Thanksgiving." Now, I'm not going to read all this, but I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. And it says, let me see the subtitle. It reads, "This is not a history of friendship." It says it is fairly well documented that the English and later Americans didn't, in fact, get along with their native neighbors. Actually, that's an understatement. Native Americans, which goes back to Gad, were driven out of their land, hunted, and virtually exterminated by the settlers, which is Esau, Edom, during the centuries following the latter arrival. So it is hardly surprised that the story surrounding Thanksgiving involves a bloody conflict. And I just wanted to bring that out, man, because this is why we're telling you so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Americans to separate from this devil, man, right? Spiritually, because when you sitting out here, sitting around a table and all that, eating ham and, the turkey and all of that, right? All you're doing is pretty much showing the Lord that you're still hand in hand with this devil, man. You see? And amen, the spirit of the Lord ain't dealing with that. And there's so many articles out here. You got all the brothers, doing videos, going into it, man, how you should not be worshiping the ways of the heathen, man. You see? And if I may, can I grab a quick precept? This is the book of Amos, chapter 5, and I'm gonna start at verse 21. And it reads, "I hate and despise your feast days." And what's a lot of people doing today, right? They call this day a feast day, man. You see, and it reads, "And I will not smell in your solemn assemblies." Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. You see, so I just wanted to bring it up, man, because the Lord, right? You know, a lot of people today, you know, they pretty much sat around the table and gave all praises, right? The fake white man Jesus and all of that, you know, for this food and all of that. But the Lord said that He's not smelling your feast days, man. He's not hearing your prayers, you know. So this is why we telling you so-called Blacks, Latino, Native Americans out there to separate from your enemy, man. Knowing all the history that happened right around this holiday, you know, you gotta repent, Jake. You got it, brothers.
Kind of just to add, like, going into where it says, verse 22, excuse me, though ye offer me burnt offerings and meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts, because really, these different sacrifices and stuff like that, like the ham and stuff like that that they have at these different tables, it's really offered to an idol. The Lord's not dealing with Thanksgiving, Christmas, all these different holidays that Esau has, and it's the spirit too that they essentially, a lot of them fall on the Sabbath, Yeah, and the Lord got Esau in that trick bag.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Baba Kashar, you mind reading down to 24?
Con. Amos chapter 5 and verse 23. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy vows. But let judgment run down as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream.
Right, and that's exactly what we're pretty much expecting. You know, the scriptures say in Revelation 13 and verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth by the sword shall be killed by the sword. Here is
Mm-hmm.
the patience and the faith of the saints, and that's what we're expecting, man. That's what we want. The
Yep.
judgment to bring to true judgment, righteous judgment to be enacted on the planet Earth, right? Because as we see, Esau likes to put up these lies and these narratives of, how he actually attained America, but history speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? The records is there, you know, of how this man has actually stole this land, how he did our people, shit. We were talking about it. You messaged me earlier, Yawam, about how Gad was enslaved by these pilgrims or so-called pilgrims, right? So Jake went into captivity, man. All the tribes went into captivity, but hey, this is the bloody history of America, and this whole thing with Thanksgiving. Uh, it was, like I said, it was all set up as a way to. At first, it was set up to as a celebration for them taking us down, and now you got Jake over here celebrating it, which is all backwards, man.
Con, could you get Exodus 23 and 2?
Exodus 23 and verse 2, it says, "Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment."
Right. And pretty much it says, the point I want to get was, it says, thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. Because essentially Jake just be following the ways of the heathen, which we was instructed not to do that, in Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1 down to verse 4, also Deuteronomy chapter 12. We were given the law, statutes, and commandments, and the Lord gave us holy days that we supposed to keep. You see, but Jake is essentially just following the ways of Esau Edom.
Oh, yeah, Jake is very simple, man. Hey, all you gotta do is give Jake a holiday, give him a day off from all the hell that they're catching,
Mhm.
and that's it. They're going back to they get lulled back to sleep.
Con. May I land back off that point? I got two quick precepts, if I may.
Con.
Just adding to the spirit. This is Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 21. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. Right, and this is what the mindset of these Edomites is, that they can commemorate the slaughtering of the Lord's children and think that they will be unpunished. Moreover, as brothers are saying, the simple of our people have now found themselves siding in commemoration of the atrocities that were committed against our people. All right. They
Hmm.
haven't reformed their ways. They haven't, shifted their mind to detach from this place. And that's how Jacob's going to find themselves tied in to this impending judgment that the Lord is preparing to deliver upon the house of Edom. All right, as well as the other heathen nations that were, in lockstep with trying to destroy our people. Right, it says, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered, because simultaneously as this judgment is being prepared to be brought down for our deliverance, right, judgment is also going to be handed out. Right. Another quick precept, Exodus 21 and 16, because the brother had quoted Revelations 13 and 10. Right. See, we understand Yahweh Shema Shai's judgment, unlike this world, unlike these anti-Hamashiachim, right? These so-called Christians, Western Christians that try to refute the judgment of the Lord. They want to just talk about the blessings. But hey, in order to inherit those blessings, the Lord is preparing to dish out judgment, right? This is Exodus 21 and 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. All right. So his brothers is saying, look, all the tribes was put into bondage. All the tribes were, persecuted heavily under the hand of Esau Edom. All right. And Esau Edom is preparing, he's about to receive his judgment. Now, you Israelites out there,
It might
that
cut
want
out,
to,
bro.
can you hear me?
Con.
Salaki, what was the last part y'all heard me say?
Pretty much what Esau Edom is being prepared to face.
Salakia. Esau is preparing to face his judgment, right? He's going to be put to death. He's going to have to endure that thermonuclear destruction, as well as the heathen, right? And 2/3. But hey, for our people, you were warned not to do the things that the heathen find themselves doing. Specifically, this feast day of the heathen commemorating you being killed. Hey, because in turn, what are we celebrating right now? Hanukkah, right? The Feast of Dedications, where we commemorate our freedom to religious expression, and we commemorate being freed from oppression, right? The commemoration of, us standing stiffly to serve the Lord against the powers that be, the Grecians, you know what I'm saying? The Edomites, you know? So it's like, Jake, they got a fucked up mindset right now, man. And that's what's gonna cause a lot of niggas to be put to death by the hand of Yahweh Shemel Shai.
That's right.
Con, can we get Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6?
Con. This is Hosea 4 and verse 6. It says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will
Right,
also reject thee.
2/3, they reject the knowledge. We go to Zephaniah chapter 7, or I believe it's verse 11 on down. It pretty much talks about how they pulled away the shoulder. The scriptures say that 2/3 are willingly ignorant. So they reject this knowledge.
That's right. They reject the truth. Here it is. Brothers have been bringing out this truth for years, man. The truth about Christmas, of all these holidays, or holy, Salakia, these so-called holidays.
Holidays.
Holidays, right?
Yeah.
But Jake is still, got their head in the sand, man. Jake is still, they're in that spirit of ignorance is bliss, man.
Yeah.
It don't bother them, it's all about, getting that day off of work and, going out drinking and partying up, not knowing that what you're celebrating, even though some people might say, well, I'm not directly celebrating it, but you are partaking in the festivities in a way, because they're not caught up in the truth of the matter of what these days are about, the history of it, right? They don't even care.
Right.
Jake say they doing it for the kids,
Right. That's a man. They done drag that excuse through the mud so many times, bro. Like the scripture says, like Yahweh said, they shall have no cloak for their sins.
Right.
No, if I had not come, they would have no cloak for their sins. But hey, Jake don't got cloak for the sins, man. The truth is out here. They heard the truth, and when Yahweh comes back, hey, there's gonna be no excuse. There's gonna be no, I didn't know, or no one told me. Nah, man, there's gonna be none of that.
Con, you finish it out.
Con. Hosea 4 and 6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children.
Right. So being that 2/3, when they pulled away that shoulder, they rejected the Lord. In the time of that visitation and that calamity, the Lord is going to reject them. The Lord gonna put them on down to him. Because the scriptures say, could we get it? Zechariah chapter 7 and verse 11.
Khan. This is Zechariah 7 and verse 11. It reads, "But they refused to hearken and pulled away the shoulder and stopped their ears that they should not hear."
Right. They would rather, like the scriptures say in Isaiah the 30th chapter, they want to be told those smooth things. They don't want to hear the truth of the matter. You see, so if it's going to ruffle their feathers, they would rather not hear it.
Verse 12, "Yea, they made their hearts as an adamant stone, lest they should
Which
hear
when
the
you go
law."
into that word for adamant stone, it go into something a diamond, which that word for diamond is chalam, and it goes to something that you have to conquer. You got to conquer a diamond. You got to beat it, with the hammer. Which essentially you can liken that in this verse is being likened to 2/3 mind. They made their heart that word for heart is lab. So they have a very hard headed mind.
Which is why what it says in Second Ezra, the 9th chapter, right? That they shall know it through death by pain.
Mm-hmm.
The Most High is going to have to really, conquer them in order for them to receive this truth on the other side.
Right.
But it says, "Yea, they made their hearts as an adamant stone, lest they should hear the law and the words which Yahweh of hosts has sent in his spirit by the former prophets. Therefore came a great wrath from Yahweh of hosts."
Right. So it says in the words which the Lord of hosts hath sent his spirit by the former prophets, because the scriptures say that the Lord sent his prophets B times, which B times goes into early, before all hell broke loose, but Jake essentially misused that compassion. The scriptures say that, roughly paraphrasing that 2/3 misused the prophets. I believe it's in Second Chronicles, the 36th chapter. But it says,
Want me to get that?
yeah, we can finish this out first. It says,
Okay.
"Therefore came a great wrath from the Lord of hosts." Hey, so essentially, because 2/3 wanted to abide in that false sense of security, they're gonna receive of the wrath and the judgment of the Lord. So you can go to that. Or actually, no. Could we finish out verse 13 and then get Second Chronicles?
Khan. Verse 13, it says, "Therefore it has come to pass that as he cried, and they would not hear, so they cried, and I would not hear, saith the Lord of hosts."
Right, because the Lord cried, and he cried through the prophets. All right, breaking down the scriptures the correct way, and it says, "Therefore it came to pass that as he cried, and they would not hear, so they cried, and I would not hear. Excuse me, and I would not hear, saith the Lord of hosts." Hey, so when 2/3 is going through what they're going through, and Jacob's trouble, the Lord not gonna hear those cries, because they essentially had an opportunity, because the scriptures say, seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Roughly paraphrasing, you see, 2/3 they essentially misuse and abuse. You see the grace period.
That's right. He says Second Chronicles 36.
Mm-hmm.
I forget exactly what verse it is. Oh, here it is. This is Second Chronicles 36 and 15. It says, "And Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, power of their fathers, sent to them by his messengers, rising up B times."
Which
And
B times
sending.
again, it means early.
It says, "Because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place."
So the Lord had compassion on his people, on his dwelling place. Compassion, true love is showing mercy. The Lord is showing mercy by allotting His truth. You see, but 2/3, like it says in John, they don't want to be held accountable. John the 3rd chapter, they don't want to be held accountable. They see it as they see it as it's putting them in a disadvantageous position.
Right, right. It's burdensome to them. Verse 16, it says, "But they mocked the messengers of the Most High and despised his words and misused his prophets."
This comes in the form of mocking, scoffing, saying things against the truth, mocking when they walking past the camp.
Right, right. It says, "Until the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua arose against his people, till there was no remedy."
Right, and like you mentioned before, earlier on, second Ezra's 9th chapter, essentially, you know, they're gonna be destroyed. You know, they're gonna receive of the judgment that the Lord has for them.
Mm-hmm.
Could we get Jeremiah chapter 10 and start at verse 1?
Con.
If I may add, Bob Shaw, you know, these are the same people, right, that were back during the time when Moses was on the scene. You know, these are the same people that we're dealing with even when Yahweh Shah was on the scene. You know, and also when you go back to Moses, you know, these people, they still want to worship, you know, Yahweh Shai, while Yahweh pretty much was right there, man. These people still wanted to worship a golden calf, you see? And this is why the Lord just allowed a lot of people out here to be destroyed because they want to worship unto idols. Can I grab a quick one? This is the book of Psalm chapter 106, and I'm gonna start at I start at verse 32, and it reads, "They angered him also at the waters of strife, so that it went ill with Moses for their sake, because they provoked his spirit, so that he spake unevasively with his lips. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them." Here's the point, verse 35, "but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works." And this is the spirit that 2/3 of our people are in now.
Mm-hmm.
"And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Ye, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils." You see, so these people here, you can't help, man. You know, so all these people out here that celebrating these, you know, these whack ass holidays, you know, and just like how the brother get ready to read in the book of Jeremiah, 10th chapter, you know, you shouldn't celebrate and worship after the ways of the heathen, man. But as you see our people, they're in that spirit because they're also be sacrificing themselves and their sons and their daughters, right, unto idols, unto devils, man. You got it, Yeshaya.
Con. This is Jeremiah 1. Hear ye the word.
Hear ye the word.
I will speak unto you. O
You
house
might.
of Israel. Con. It says Jeremiah 10 and 1. Hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. You hear me, bro?
God, you good?
Want me to read it back?
You keep going.
Okay, Con. It says, for the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe.
Right, and this is essentially going into, you know, what they call, you know, Christmas. You know, like they got the like nowadays I think it's like some type of fake plastic, you know, but you know, years ago they would actually cut a tree down, you know, and do what's listed right here, you know, but that that goes back to the customs of the heathen. You know, essentially they was tapping into that, and I believe Christmas goes back to what they call Saturnalia.
Con. Want me to continue?
Kanye.
Verse 4, it says, they deck it with silver and with gold. They fashion it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
Right, and it says they deck it with silver and with gold. You know, they got, I don't know what it's called, but it's like kind of like a caterpillar type of thing. It's like they got the little gold type of it's like some string stuff. You know, they got that, and then they got the silver thing you see. But that again, that's likened to, you know, what they put on the Christmas tree nowadays. It says they fasten it with the nails and with hammers that it move not, and then they got the little, you know, the water thing. You know, so that's essentially going into, you know, the ways of the heathen. You see that, but then also the different holidays. You know, whether it be Christmas, you know, Valentine's Day, you know, New Year's, all that stuff is off. You know, we again, we was made to serve the Lord. Baba Kushak, could we get Ecclesiastes Quahalath chapter 12 and verse 13?
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
Right, that's our duty. That's our purpose. You know, pretty much. You know, going into, we were made to serve the Lord. You know, we were made to revere the Lord, not get into, you know, what the heathen was getting into. You know, all these off philosophies, you know, idolatry and stuff like that. You know, Jake wasn't made. We wasn't made to do that. You know, that's the heathen stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. May I get something right quick?
Kyle, you got it, bro.
Because like you said, this is the customs of the heathen, right? But Jake, you got to go into the words to get a better understanding of its significance, right? Now you go into
Hmm.
this word tradition in the free dictionary. It says the passing down of elements of a culture from generation to generation, especially by oral communication, a mode of thought or behavior followed by a people continuously from generation to generation, a custom or usage, right? So it's a thought, it's a behavior that's directly tied to these customs and traditions of the heathen, right? So that's why they tell you, oh, you got to get into the Thanksgiving spirit, the Christmas spirit, the holiday spirit, because there's an actual mindset, there's an actual spirit associated to these customs that when you involve yourself in it, you're putting yourself at odds with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Remember, the heathen don't give two fucks about you. They want you to celebrate Christmas. They want you
Mhm.
niggas to celebrate Thanksgiving, right? Because that props them up in position of power and influence because you're not putting yourself in the right in the right setting to serve Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You
Con.
see? It's a simple dynamic when you get down to the root of it, you
Mhm.
know?
If I can
No.
add
Con.
too, this is Amos chapter 5 and verse 6. It says, It says, seek the Lord, and ye shall live. Because essentially what the heathen do is they understand, they go back to their playbook. Esau, Edom, the rest of the heathen, they always go left. So essentially they put it to where they set these different snares and make Jake go off. But this is what you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans are supposed to do. This is Amos chapter 5 and verse 6. It says, seek the Lord, and ye shall live. We see, Deuteronomy, the fourth chapter, those that cleave unto the Lord. How do you cleave unto the Lord? Are you subscribed to this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? And it says, seek the Lord, and ye shall live, lest he break out like fire in the house of Yahwasap and devour it, and there be none to quench it in Bethel. You see, so you Israelites are supposed to seek the Lord. That's what we was created to do.
That's right. May I get a quick one? Back y'all brothers up.
You got it, bro.
This is Psalm 62 and verse 4. It says, they only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies, they're blessed with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. So, like the brothers going into, the only, like, really, Esau's only MO is to bring y'all down, to make sure that he puts a divide between you and the Most High. And like the brother Atazwan was saying, hey, these heathen understand that if we were to come back to our power, that would be a huge detriment to their society, a huge detriment to what they built, right? So them keeping us celebrating these holidays is what they want, man. In the book of Judith, the 5th chapter, it talks about how, if we were right with the Lord, how they wouldn't be able to overtake us. But if we're in sin, it's easy for us to be, prey to them, right? So that's why, like the brother the bar said earlier, we shouldn't don't trust your enemies, man. That was a commandment. Don't trust your enemies, you know, because we see whenever Jake always goes into trying to be with the heathen or aligning themselves with the heathen, ain't nothing but negative things happen, man. Ain't no positive, no building comes out of that,
It's a curse.
right?
Right.
It's a curse
Oh,
at the
it's a
end of the
curse at
day,
the end of
signing
the
with the
day,
heathen.
signing with the heathen. If I may grab a quick precept just to back you brothers up, because just like how you brothers say, every time these jakes out here, pretty much worship the ways of the heathen, right? The Lord always bring a heavy and brutal judgment, man. But now you have the prophets here on the scene, right, warning Jake to pray and to repent. This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 17, and I'm gonna start at verse 7. It reads, "For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their power, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods." You see that in a lot of our people today, they don't fear the Most High Yahweh, right? They fear, fear man, right? Fear what people think about them on TikTok. Verse 8, and it says, "And walk in their statutes," it's like, "and walk in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, of their kings of Israel, which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their power. You see, so when you are here, right, you celebrating, right, the customs of the heathen, like today, Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving, right, you're walking against the Most High. Continuing on, and it reads, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the towers of the watchmen to the fenced cities, and they set them up images and groves and every high hill and under every green tree, and they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen, whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. You see that? So this is, when you go into people, especially in these churches, they the main ones is out here, celebrating the customs of the heathen, promoting it, and all of that, man. A lot of them having a Thanksgiving dinners and all of that. You see? Here's the point. I'm gonna keep going. Verse 12, 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 12, and it reads, "For they serve idols, wherefore the Lord had said unto them, Ye shall not do this thing." You see, and this is what the prophets are out here warning you not to do, Jake. But these videos that we do, they're not for everybody. They're just for the hopeful brothers, right? And even a few sisters that are out there, man. And Yahweh Ratazah, we are part of the elect. Verse 13 is the point of 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 13. It reads, "Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah by the prophets, by all the seers, saying, Turn ye from your evil ways." Are we not saying that, man? Verse continuing on, says, "And keep my commandments and my statutes according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants, the prophets." You see that in Yahweh Ratazah. Right, we are those prophets today, the seers, man. Right, and as the seers and the prophets, we're telling you to separate from the customs of the heathen, Jake. Because we done brought it out early in the lesson. All the atrocities that happen right on this so-called day, man. So when you sitting out here, like the brother Atazawan brought out, when you sitting out here joining hand in hand, right, with the heathen, right, you're ultimately going to be destroyed right along with the heathen. But us, we're telling you to turn back from your evil ways, man, and to seek the Lord and to repent. You got it, brothers.
Khan, can we get Luke 13 and 3?
Khan, this is the book of Luke 13 and verse 3. It says, "I tell you, nay, but except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish."
Right, because Jake is essentially subscribes to Esau Edom's lifestyles and philosophies. Jake is still celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, Valentine's. You see, but if Jake doesn't come up out of those different lifestyles, you see, Jake's gonna perish. 2/3 gonna perish.
Right. Pretty much, hey, like it says in Micah 2 and 10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. So you got to detach
Right.
mentally from this place, man. Like
Mhm.
Jake is still caught up with trying to be somebody, trying to get accolades on this side, trying to get their master's degree or whatever it is, trying to chase the bag, trying to be somebody, trying to establish himself. But as further we go into the more further time passes, man, we starting to see more and more that, hey, man, this place is done.
Right.
Like the news speaks for itself. Like everything the prophets is saying is coming to pass, man. They ain't no hope in America. It's done. The American dream is finished, man. So Jake needs to detach out themselves, like brother's saying, man. Otherwise, you're gonna perish right alongside with the rest of America.
Mhm.
But I wanted to get a quick point, if I may,
Oh, you got
because
it.
the brother Bar was saying, there's a lot of Jake still, celebrating these holidays and into these holidays, but a lot of the leadership that Jake has, like the churches and all that stuff,
Mhm.
and really they be leading Jake astray. But I want to get this quick quote that the elder ICR sent in the group chat. It says the oppressor would not be so strong if he did not have accomplices among the oppressed, right? And we understand that there's gatekeepers, in our people that help Esau stay in rulership. Amongst our people, you have the what they call the black boule, you know, and that and Issachar and all the other tribes are under that too. They come in the same stead of trying to keep and keep forwarding Esau's hegemony, man, to keep Esau in power, right? And they do it by keeping Jacob pressed. I want to get this precept real quick. This is Micah 3:1. It says, "And I said, Hear, I pray you, O heads of Jacob, and ye princes of the house of Israel. Is it not for you to know judgment? Who hate the good and love the evil, who pluck off their skin from off them, and their flesh is off their and their flesh from off their bones." And that's what the leadership of Israel or of Jake does, man. Pretty much strip away their covering, man. The truth of who their power is, the truth of who they are, and they tell them, "Oh, go ahead and worship these holidays. Go ahead and celebrate Thanksgiving, celebrate Christmas." Just speaking on these upcoming holidays because they understand that there's a certain vibration that comes with celebrating these things. There's a certain mindset you got to be in to celebrate these things, right? Jake is still asleep out here, so they're easy pickings to the wicked of our people and to Esau. But it says Micah 3:3. It says, "Who also eat of the flesh of my people and flay their skin from off them, and they break their bones and chop them in pieces as for the pot, and that's flesh within the cauldron." Right. So that's why it says, in Hosea 4:6, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." Man, our people are ignorant, man. But even then, our people have that mindset of being willingly ignorant, meaning if it ain't nothing that concerns them, they don't even try to delve into it. You know what I'm saying? They feel like this is all just like conspiracy things, or what I'm saying, "Oh, this is too deep, it ain't that deep." People Jake like to say, "Oh, it ain't that deep." No, it is. You know what I mean? You celebrating these holidays can get you fucked up, man, get you killed. Puts you on the opposite end of on the Lord, right? Instead of being not close to the Lord, you're putting yourself on the opposite end. You're making yourself an enemy unto Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Y'all bros got it.
Con, did we have more in the article?
Khan. Let me go back to that. All right, I'm gonna skip down just a little bit. Okay, it says the myth of Thanksgiving. It says, "I had a great many conversations with Wampanoag people in which they talk about how burdensome Thanksgiving is for them, particularly for their kids. Wampanoag adults have memories of being a kid during Thanksgiving season, sitting in school, feeling invisible, and having to wade through the nonsense that teachers were shoveling their way. They felt like their people's history, as they understood it, was being misrepresented." It says they felt that not only their classes, but society in general was making light of historical trauma, which weighs around their necks like a millstone. Those stories really resonate with me. So,
Con, could we get a quick one?
Khan,
He's about to touch on the point.
No, I was just gonna say real quick, and this is how we all felt, man. Judah, I'm pretty sure they felt the same way when they talked about the history of the slavery. Native Americans, even the Latin tribes. We felt the same way when we hear about history about what happened with, Mexico and all that, right? But that just goes to show you that, hey, man, this place is not for us, man. This place was never meant for us. But you got it, bro.
Con, did we touch on Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter and the 16th verse? Did we get that?
I don't think so.
We did. We could get it again though.
Con, yeah.
Want me to get it again?
Con, I got it right here. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 16. It says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered." Because essentially Esau Edom is being exposed. All of his different lies that he once confided in, all that is being exposed, through the scriptures. And it says, "The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." Because going back to the person's point that pretty much wrote in the article, like Esau once confided, in the glory of, taking America. Pretty much Esau essentially gloried, in the genocide of Gad, and the enslavement of Judah. You see, so that stuff is being brought to the forefront, and that's why he got to come out with things that like critical race theory. You know, he has to hide this stuff because essentially, you know, it's like damn, you know, like he's really being exposed. You know, that's how people in America, Babylon the Great feel. You know.
Mm-hmm. Con. But continuing on in this article, let me see. It says, "What is the Thanksgiving myth?" It says the myth is that friendly Indians, unidentified by tribe, welcome the pilgrims to America, teach them how to live in this new place, sit down to dinner with them, and then disappear. They hand off America to white people so they can create a great nation dedicated to liberty, opportunity, and Christianity for the rest of the world to profit. That's the story. It's about native people conceding to colonialism. It's bloodless and in many ways an extension to the ideology of manifest destiny. So yeah, you know, that's exactly what Esau wants you to believe, that you know the way that he took over America was a bloodless one. You know,
Mm-hmm.
one without bloodshed, one that he just came and was welcomed and he took it because it was all part of his, like it says right here, manifest destiny.
All right, if I could add too, that word manifest destiny. That's pretty much what Esau instituted to come over and do what he did. Could we get a quick one? Could we get Numbers 35 and 33, and then tap
Hmm.
into the commentary? Or
Con, I got it.
okay.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 35 and verse 33. It says, "So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it."
All right, which Jacob essentially will represent the blood that is shed therein. You see, but what's really going to cleanse the land is going to be the destruction of Esau, Edom. You know, and it says right here. It says, "For blood defiles the land, and no atonement can be made for the land." It says, "Unjudged murders defile a nation. When murderers are not brought to justice, there is a blot on a nation that only the severe judgment of the Most High can cleanse." You see, so what Esau does is he essentially, he essentially, for murderers, he puts them in a jail. You see, but what you really supposed to do to them is they're supposed to be put to death. Because essentially
Hmm.
that'll take the spirit of murder. That'll take the murder out of a land. And it says, "Except by the blood of him who shed it," it says, "the way to avoid this defilement is to judge and execute murderers. No atonement can be made for the land for the blood that is shed on it, except by the blood of him who shed it." Pretty much, Esau, Edom got to pay. The scriptures
Hmm.
say that Ecclesiastes 3 and 15, the Lord required that which is past. And that word required goes into to make an inquisition. The Lord is making an inquisition and Esau's hegemony. And it says,
Right.
"One may say that because of the stain of so many unpunished murders, the United States of America is a defiled land across the country. Many are murdered under many circumstances, and few are brought to justice." It says, "The blood of the slain cries out before the Most High." You see, so the Lord is going to enact judgment. You see, for the blood that has been spilt in America, Babylon the Great. It's going to come by
Hmm.
way of the Lord destroying Esau, Edom, and his hegemony, his essentially the places that Esau, Edom rules in.
Right. May I get a quick one? This is Zechariah 11 and 4. It says, "Thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty." And that's what Esau's doing, man, by changing history, rewriting history, putting it in the minds of the people that, he didn't do what he did. That's essentially him holding himself not guilty. He's doing the exact same thing as Cain did when he slew Abel. Am I my brother's keeper? Right? Pretty much making it seem like he didn't do anything. Nothing wrong happened here, right? But it says, "Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, Blessed be Yahweh, for I am rich." And that's exactly what they did by calling it manifest destiny, saying that the Most High was with them, through all the atrocities that they committed, the rape, robbery, and murder of our people. of the apple of the Lord's eye. And it says, and their own shepherds pitied them not, going into the sellouts of our people. Yeah, brothers got it.
Con, did you get you good?
You good? If I may add, these are the same people, right? And also these other heathen nations too, right? My family grabbed this is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 3, and it reads, they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. You see that? So, these devils said they're gonna pay, right, for all the rape, robbery, and the bloodshed that was done to the nation of Israel, right here in this land, man. So these devils here, they're not getting away with the damn thing, man. They're going to pay for it, whether they like it or not, man. So when you sitting out here, and again, just going back to the point, when you sitting out here, you go into all these pagan, celebrating these pagan holidays, right? You're pretty much smacking the Most High or Shlakia. You're pretty much just waving off, right, all the abominations, right, that happen to you so-called blacks, Latino, Native Americans, man. They're gonna pay, and the prophets are here to warn you and tell you to separate from this devil, because he's gonna pay for it. This is why you're hearing more and more talks about World War III and all that, because the Lord's ready to pelt this place for all the wickedness that was done right here in this land. Scripture tell you that wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. And if I were you, I don't think I want to be a part, right, of these heathens when their judgment comes, man. You got it, brothers.
I wanted to add right fast because brothers made the point of manifest destiny. When you look up the definition and meaning of manifest destiny, it's a policy of imperialism rationalized as inevitable, as if granted by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? So as we know, the Edomites, they came over to this land and they colonized and stole this land, right? Rape, robbery, and murder. You know, excuse me, and you tribes were a part of that conquering, right? Now, real quick, this is Ezekiel 39:23. It says, and the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword, according to their uncleanness, and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. You know, so for Jake to understand, there's always this elephant in the room with our people that why did this have to happen? It's always tied to our fault, you know, and us not serving Yahweh Shemal Shai. That's what gave these heathen that reign to come over here and do what they do. To you Israelites, man, to you Gadites, right?
Fine. I got this real quick. This is from the AI overview from Google of Manifest Destiny. It says, Manifest Destiny was a 19th century belief that the United States was destined to expand across North America, and that it was a duty of white Americans to settle the continents.
Right. Now, if I may add too, during the 18th century, or pardon me, the 19th century and the 20th century, there was a indirect impact on the various tribes that were throughout the Americas. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there was a lot of displacement of the tribes. Specifically Gad.
Right.
Gad was a victim of manifest destiny, hardcore. As
Right.
well as the other tribes. You had the Louisiana Purchase that impacted a lot of the northern tribes, right? The Trail of Tears that
Mm-hmm.
impacted a lot of the northern tribes as well as southern tribes, being, byproducts of slavery, being moved across different parts of the world, or pardon me, different parts of the country. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm
I,
saying?
I got a precept for you.
God.
Con, this is Barash's Genesis chapter 49 and verse 19. It says, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
Right. Gad was overcame by the military. Gad was a fierce tribe when it came to warfare. The
Mm-hmm.
idea of guerrilla warfare is really predicated upon how Gad, you know, moved in the time of war. But ultimately, Gad was overcame because that blessing that Esau was bestowed, him
Right.
leveling up that blessing of the sword, when they came out with that Gatling gun, that shit was whacking a lot of Gadites, you know. But at the end, right, in due time, as we're seeing, Gad is going to get the victory over Esau because ultimately, our enemy is about to go down.
Mm-hmm. Kind of, and if I may continue reading this next paragraph, it says, Manifest Destiny drove the territorial expansion of the United States and was used to justify the forced removal of Native Americans and other groups from their homes.
Boom.
Yeah, so as you see, man, hey, Esau has always used an excuse. He's always had something to justify him into doing what he does, right? And it ain't no excuse now. You know what's going on now with the whole immigrant situation. They're using the whole "Make America Great Again" to try to do what they do. And you already know these damn these crackers are going to end up, siding with Trump and going all out for Trump to do what he does. And hey, it's all going to come down to, as we know, the inevitable Jacob's trouble. Will come to pass soon. We don't know. I mean, we expect things to pretty much amplify here with Trump in office, seeing how his plans and his goals that he has in mind, you know, can lead to that, man. But just leading to the point that, hey, Esau has always had something to have an excuse to do away with the tribes.
Right. Could we get a quick one? Could we get Psalms 50 and 20 to 21?
This is Psalm 50. You said 20?
Con.
Psalm 50 and verse 20. It says, Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son.
Right. And I want to get that word for slander. It says Nathan H 54:14. And it says, it says, I'm gonna skip down, but it says, it's a lot. It says to set, to put, to place. Number two. It says to set, to put, to place snares. So going back to your point, essentially, like you mentioned, pretty much Esau sets those different traps, or pretty much he sets Jake in a place to where it's gonna put again, Jake in a disadvantageous position.
Mm,
Going into manifest destiny and everything Esau Edom has done, as he's been in rulership, and even when he wasn't in rulership,
mm-hmm. Con.
that's just
Let me
that's
read.
just how Esau,
That's just how Esau.
that's just how Esau get down.
Con.
Can I get a quick precept to back you brothers up?
Mm-hmm.
This is the book of Psalm 49, verse 11. It reads, Their inward thought is that the houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. Here's the point. They call the lands after their own names, you see. So going back, to manifest destiny, this Edomite pretty much came over here, and it was all through the hands of the Lord because, what the children of Israel were doing over here, human sacrifice and things like that. But, Esau think that it was under his own power to come over here, man. What did he do? He named the land after his own name. America, even when you go back to that word America, it goes back to Amerigo Vespucci, I want to say, so this devil here, he has a lot to pay for it, man. Right. And as you see, this devil here, his rulership is coming to an end. And that's why the nation of Israel is standing back on their feet, referring to the book of second Ezra chapter 6, verse 9, man.
Mm-hmm.
For Esau the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of their follow. So this devil here, he can, celebrate all these little, stupid ass holidays all he wants to. All of it's going to come to an end. You see that via World War III. You got it,
Just to land
brothers.
back on to land back on you, pretty much going into how you mentioned America and Amerigo Vespucci. That word America goes into to be bitter. You see, so again, going to into how the Lord requires that which is past. You see, Esau Edom isn't going to just walk away scot free. He just building up a tab. I got this right here, finishing out. Can we finish? Can you finish it out, Yeshaya? The
Con.
21.
Khan, this is Psalm 50 and 21. It says, "These things hast thou done, and
Because
not
he enslaved, he did a genocide with Gad, enslaved, us as a people.
Mm-hmm. It says, "Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself."
They thought they wasn't going to be held accountable, to the atrocities and the genocide of the tribes,
Right. They thought the Most High was with them.
Right,
But it says, "But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes."
right. And it says, and set them order before thine eyes. And essentially, the elect is being set up, and like the scriptures goes into, Amos chapter 5 and verse 10, also Revelation the 11th chapter, great fear is falling upon them, so they feel some kind of way about that.
Mm-hmm. Khan. Yeah, hey, that's that transition of power.
Mm-hmm. And we
Khan.
had we had some more in the article.
Yeah, it's a little bit more.
Okay.
Let me see. Uh, let me see. Okay, let me start right here. It says the Thanksgiving feast. It says, how did the great dinner become the focal point of modern Thanksgiving holiday? It says, for quite a long time, English people have been celebrating Thanksgiving that didn't involve feasting. They involved fasting and prayer and supplications to the Most High. It says, in 1769, a group of pilgrims descended who lived in Plymouth felt like their cultural authority was slipping away as New England became less relevant within the colonies and the early republic and wanted to boost tourism. So they started to plant the seeds of the idea that the pilgrims were the fathers of America. It says what really made it
So these niggas was lying.
exactly, exactly. And what's crazy is that people still believe that even to this day. You know, like
It's
history has
that
been
serpent.
right.
It's more
Hey, but that's
subtle than any beast of the field, as the scriptures tell us.
right. Hey, but that just shows the influence that Esau's got. You know, he was able to convince everybody, almost everybody, that how America was founded. They're the founding fathers. They discovered America. You know what I'm saying? All that manifest destiny, right? But it says what really made it the story is that a publication mentioned that dinner published by the Reverend Alexander Young included a footnote that said this was the first Thanksgiving, the great festival of New England. People picked up on this footnote. The idea became pretty widely accepted, and Abraham Lincoln declared it a holiday during the Civil War to foster unity. It says it gained purchase in the late 19th century when there was an enormous amount of anxiety and agitation over immigration. The white Protestant stock of the United States was widely unhappy about the influx of European Catholics and Jews and wanted to assert its cultural authority over these newcomers. How better to do that than to create its national founding myth around the Pilgrims and the Indians invited them to take over the land? So what? This is so stupid, man. Why would Gad invite them to take over the land? Like that's just that bullshit, man. That Esau always be propagating, man. Oh, you know, uh, like with Judah, right? If you didn't work or if you didn't do what your master said, you were counted as being mentally ill. Like you had some type of mental disease or something.
Right. They even trying to do that now. Like the brother had made mention of critical race theory. They're trying to rewrite history with the most prominent slave trade that ever occurred in history. By saying, oh, the slaves, they weren't really slaves. They were indentured servants that willfully hopped on the fucking slave ships, stacked themselves up like sardines in a can, and came over and did free labor for 150 plus years. It's the bullshit that they promote, man.
Hmm.
Showing you how powerful that tongue is, man. That motherfucker tongue got power behind it.
Right.
Could we get a quick one? Could we get
Con.
Psalms 55 and verse 21?
Hmm.
This is
It's
the
like
book. This is the
Also,
book
like,
of
go ahead, bro.
Psalm.
You got it.
Bro. You got it. Yeah, this is the book of Psalm, chapter 55, verse 21. It reads, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords."
Because the scriptures say he uses the right hand of falsehood. So Esau understands, he's mastered, that sword, which that comes in various applications you see. So again, Esau essentially he has a way of sensationalizing the people, which when you go into sensationalize, it goes into playing on the emotions of the people. So he has a way, with his words, he uses it in various means. And like that example we just got right there, that goes into how he plays with the damage control, using that slickness of his words,
Mm-hmm. Esau got that gift of gab, man. He's like the brother tells what I'm saying, man. He's subtle. He's more subtle than any beast of the field, man. He uses his cunning to lure people in and to deceive people.
I got a quick precept, if I may. It's the book of Micah, chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse 1. It reads, "Woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. They covered fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away, so that they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." So just going back to the point of this devil here, he can't, it's not a day that goes past, right, where he's not thinking about doing something evil, man, right? Oppressing a man, his heritage, and like the brother Itazawan mentioned, he's very cunning when it comes to that tongue of his, and that's one of the gifts that the Lord gave him, man, right? So this is why, everything that the brother Yeshaya read, especially in the latter, down here in the latter, this devil here is a liar, man. And scripture tell you that he's the he pretty much put him not at thy right hand, man, least he would to take thy place. So this devil here, that's why you shouldn't trust it. A damn thing he says. You got it, brothers.
Con. Going back to the article, I'll finish this out. It says this myth making was also impacted by the racial politics of the late 19th century. The Indian Wars was coming to a close, and that was an opportune time to have Indians included in the national founding myth. You couldn't have done that when people were reading newspaper accounts on a regular basis of atrocious violence between white and Native and Americans, Slovakia, between white Americans and Native people in the West. What's more, during Reconstruction, that Thanksgiving myth allowed New Englanders to create this idea that bloodless colonialism in the region was the origin of the country, having nothing to do with the Indian Wars and slavery. Americans could feel good about their colonial past without having to confront the really dark characteristics of it.
right? Pretty much again going into how Esau essentially sensationalized the people. That's essentially how he gets people mindset off of what's actually going on. You see, but contrary to his belief, the Lord ultimately is cutting right through that, exposing this place. That stuff is being brought back into remembrance. How it mentions essentially in Isaiah the 47th chapter. Could we get that? Isaiah, we start at the top.
So Isaiah 47 and verse 1, it says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon."
Right, and it says, "Come down and sit in the dust," which that dust represents confusion. And it says, "O virgin daughter of Babylon." This place has never been touched, on a scale of warfare, like ever.
Mhm. It says, "Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O
Because
daughter of the
essentially,
Chaldeans."
because the Lord is taking the that rulership seat from Esau, Edom, in America, Babylon the Great.
Hmm. "For
And it
thou shalt
says,
no more be called tender and delicate."
God says, "O daughter of the Chaldeans." You see, because when you look at the ancient Babylonians, they tapped into that witchcraft. All right, and what does America, Babylon the Great do? They do the same thing. They subscribe to the left hand type of madness. That's why when you go into Washington D.C., it looks just like Egypt. They got they have obelisks or
Hmm.
obelixes. The Washington Monument. And just the architecture. All of that stuff goes back to that left hand madness that the Babylonians was tapping into. I believe they was heavy into astrology and stuff like that, but it pretty much corresponded with how in America, Babylon the Great, they tap into that left hand, falsehood.
Right. And if I may say too, I remember looking into this about Washington D.C., how they be having like certain buildings positioned in certain locations
Mm-hmm.
to make out certain like uh them little like symbols like the stars and all that shit. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
positioned in a certain way to where it's like uh they're pretty much pushing that. They're creating that. I forgot how it goes. What's that?
Kai,
Them little.
you pretty much talking about how Esau gets down in that sacred geometry. He'll put it
Yeah, that's
to a
what it
way
is.
to where it's gonna push forth, his ideology of wickedness. Because he everything he does, he does it to push forth the deception like you going into.
Mm-hmm. Con. Verse 2, it says, take the millstone and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers.
Mm-hmm.
Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man.
Right, because again, the Lord is exposing America, Babylon the Great. All right, whereas at one point, everybody wanted to come to America. Everybody had that. Hey, like those that once was, in other countries. They call their families and they talk to their families, and they be like, come here. Everything is all kosher. You see, but it's no longer like that. You see, because when they're coming over here and they're saying like, yeah, no, this place ain't. It's not beneficial to live. It's barely even surviving. This place is being exposed through the spirit and power
Hmm.
of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai.
That's right. Want me to continue on?
Did you have any more in the article to finish out?
Yeah, I'll just read this. Wait, hold on. I think that was it, actually.
In the article?
Yeah, I mean, there's more, but that was pretty much the point.
Kind. The bros have anything else?
La.
I got one.
Kind, you
Let me
good?
get Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel 35 and 10, it says, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahweh was there. Right? So Esau took it upon himself to claim Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai's possession. The tribes, right? Both northern and southern kingdom, right? But it says, but whereas Yahweh was there, Yahweh was there, he was seeing everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Most High was the one that sent Esau to us to punish us. But as it says in the scriptures, that he forwarded the affliction. He
Mm-hmm.
took it upon himself to do more damage than what the Most High was really intended for us to go through, and he's still doing it now through his policies, through the GMO food, the chemtrails, the pollution in the water, all that, man. Verse 11. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. Right. And that's the time that we're coming into, man, where the Most High is raising us up. And eventually, there's going to come a time where, when his kingdom falls, where he's going to suffer what we suffered. He's going to go through that harsh punishment. He's going to go through the slavery, the being chained up, being put in pits, right? Being put to work, right? He's going to go through all that, right? Now it says, verse 12, it says, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel. And manifest destiny is one of them, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Gone. Thanks, killer.
Right. Thanksgiving, right? It says, they are laid desolate, they are given us to consume, right? And that's what they thought. They thought that, we were pretty much handed out on a silver platter for them to, take over, which in a sense we were. We gave ourselves over,
Gone.
by not following the ways of the Most High. But like I said, Esau ordered that affliction, and we weren't meant to, reside in his possession forever.
Right.
Gone. Because if I may add, that forwarding of that affliction, you know, these heathen, they make advancements to intentionally put Jake in a position to go off. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's like you putting somebody in a position to be, locked up. Like that's not proper judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, we carrying out our sentencing, but you trying to add more years. You're trying to add more. You're trying to put more things out there to extend the sentencing that Jake got.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Like overkill.
Exactly.
Right. That was pretty much it, though.
And that's why Esau's sentence is going to be very, very long. You see that because of the fact that we're still in captivity. So this devil here, he's just making it worse, and for that, he has to pay. As far as him serving 1,000 years and then being awesomely rounded up, right, and being destroyed. I got a quick precept. Revelation chapter 13, verse 9 through 10, oldie but goodie. It reads, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, and he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. You see that? So these devils here, they're not going to get away with anything that they've done. You got a lot of people out there, say, we got to forgive and forget. Hell no, man. Right? He's going to pay for it. He's the one that pushing all these pagan holidays. Right? He's the one that's, making Jake continue to go off to this very day, or he's the one that's pushing it anyway. So Austin, he's the one that came over here and took the land. Right? So he's often going to pay for all the crimes, right, that he's done, especially against the nation of Israel. You got it, brothers.
Conley, bros, have anything else?
La.
La.
I got one more. Could we get Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 15?
This is Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 16. It reads, and moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment.
15.
Oh, Salakia. 15. It says, that which has been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High requireth that which is past.
Khan, can we get that word for past, Baba Kushah?
Khan.
I meant Salak for requireth.
Requireth Khan.
And it says bakwash, and it says to seek, to find, to seek, to secure, to desire, to demand, to require, to exact. Could you go down a little bit, Baba Kushah? It says beseech, desire, inquire, get, make inquisition. It says to request, to require. So the Lord required that which is past. The actions of Esau, they're not going to go unpunished. This devil is going to serve his slavery. But yeah, that was pretty much all I had, bros, and how nothing else.
Well, seeing that you said that, I want to get a precept. It's Habakkuk 2. Bear with me. Habakkuk 2 and verse 10, it says, thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity. And that's Esau, man. Woe unto you, man. You built up this whole empire that you got off of blood, man, off of bloodshed. And as the brother the bar brought out, right? Revelation 13 and verse 10. Hey, you're gonna have to pay, you're gonna have to answer for all that, man. And as we brought out earlier in Numbers, I believe, where it talks about, that the land can't be cleansed but by the blood by him that shed it. Hey, that's gonna have to come to fruition, man. The earth is not going to be allowed to continue any further until this gets hashed out, man. Until those that killed the apple of the Lord's eye receive that proper judgment. That's only only then will the earth be allowed to be refreshed and continue forwarding to grow, man. But that's going to be only in the kingdom at the end of the day, right? But judgment has to come to fruition, man. But that was pretty much it. That's all I had.
Con with eight. I don't want to Zaza about na Lord's will. That was a beautiful edification through the spirit. Well, I don't want to Zaza. Atam Yashlay Lata Wab. Lord's will. You have a good night.
Lord's will.
Close it up. I said, oh, like, a double honor as an apostles of great millstone that taught us the truth and rule well, and much respect to you, bros, out there preaching the truth with all righteousness. Shalom, shalom.
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 Shalom.